Hello, this is Dr. Janice R, and thank you for visiting my YouTube channel. Do you know anyone who is dealing with the devastating illness of lupus? Well, you might want to call them up and tell them to listen in with you as we have a conversation with Tanya Lipprand, who is the founder and the CEO of Marlene's Kaleidoscope, which focuses solely on lupus. You do not want to miss this conversation. So stay tuned. And we are here today talking about living with lupus. Now, let me tell you about our guest. Her name is Tanya Pitts-Lipprand, and she is the visionary founder of Marlene's Kaleidoscope. She is the CEO of Marlene's Kaleidoscope, which is a nonprofit organization that is passionately committed to advocating for those who are affected by lupus. She lives in the greater Kansas City area, and I know her whole family because Tanya and I used to work together in a previous life, huh? But
Yes.
she really is leading the change in the fight for lupus. And I'm not going to tell you a whole lot more about her because really, once you hear about her story and the wonderful things you're doing, you will know all about her. So welcome to the stage, Latanya.
Hello. Hello, everyone. First of all, Janice,
Mhm.
congratulations on the 25th, 26th. No, I'm 26. Hey.
Yes, you are 26.
But congratulations. I remember when you first started this, and thank you for giving a platform for people to come on and feel comfortable talking about
Yeah.
whatever needs to be talked about. So
Well,
thank
I
you.
appreciate, and when I have been seeing what you've been doing, I've been seeing it for a long time. But as I was thinking about people having a show, and then when we ran into each other at the women's event, I was like, Latanya has got to be here. So again, thank you for being a part of this. And again, come on in, everybody, and leave questions and comments. All right, so I really want to go back to when you first were diagnosed with lupus. What was your initial reaction when you found out you had been diagnosed with lupus?
I was happy for about 20 minutes
Okay.
because I had been going to the doctors quite often and
Mhm.
trying to figure out what's wrong with me. Something is wrong with me, and no one could figure it out. Everybody kept telling me. Every doctor I seen told me I was healthy. There's nothing wrong with
Hmm.
you. We're looking at you. Your blood work looks perfect. But I knew something was truly wrong with me, and I finally found a doctor that was said, okay, something is wrong. Let's figure it out. And it took a while. Honestly, it took me probably about 3 years to really get someone to notice me.
Oh,
But
wow.
before that 3 years, before I started complaining, it's probably about 6 or 7. It was way before I had my son. And then when I had my son, well, when I got pregnant, they put me on bed rest. And I never understood why. And they couldn't
Hmm.
tell me why. They just kept saying, we just think it's be best for you, be home. I was going to the doctor every week,
Mhm.
Then I had my son, and then things just got worse. And from there, and like I said, I found her name was, she's not in practice anymore. I think her sister is, though. Julie Vogelstein. She listened to me. She said, let's
Mhm.
figure it out. And she went to a seminar, and she
Hmm.
called. She says, I know what's wrong with you, I believe. I need you to check yourself into the hospital. And I said, okay. And I did for 3 or 4 days. It was like a week. And all I remember when she came in, she had like, it looked like she had 10 doctors with her, but I think it was like maybe 4 or 5.
Okay.
The look on their faces, her face first, was priceless. So actually, I thought I had cancer. And
Hmm.
hon I didn't really worry about that because in my head, and then you know me, I already start playing things in my head already.
Mhm.
And she sat down and she says, We know what you have. I said, Good. And she said, Lupus. And I'm like, Oh, it must be this. I said, Is that cancer? And her exact words to me was, "It's worse than cancer because we don't even know how you got it and we don't know how to fix it."
Hmm.
And then when the doctor sat down, the other doctor, which was an autoimmune doctor, wasn't actually a rheumatologist at that time. And he
Mhm.
sat down and started explaining to me what lupus was, and still not truly understanding because you got to have a pill, a shot, or
Right.
something. And he was like, "We don't know that much about it." Back then, they used to keep saying it was rare. And
Mhm.
so I said, "Okay." So he explained, he said, "You have lupus." And he said, basically, the best way to explain it, and actually, it is the best way to explain it, your body is attacking its healthy cells. It's thinking something's wrong. And the best way I
Hmm.
can describe people is like, when you get a cold or
Mhm.
something, and your body knows you got a cold and it's trying to fight it off. That's exactly what lupus does to people that have lupus. Um, so we decided to that I wanted to live because it's starting to attack my whole body. My
Okay.
lungs was a major part, and then
Mhm.
my heart. And then as time went on, it's my lungs, my heart, my skin. I do have some lesions on my brain, um,
Mhm.
but beyond that, I'm healthy. Um, and what I decided to do with my doctor, I told her I just had my son, and she said, I said, "If you can let me see my son turn 5, I do whatever you tell me to do." So there was one time I was taking 20 pills in the morning, about 4 or 5 in the afternoon, and about 10 at night every day. And I seen him turn
Wow.
5. Then I seen him in middle school, elementary school,
Uh-huh.
then middle school. So then he graduated from college. And
I
I mean, I
love it.
got what and people was like, "Oh, you sound like you lived your life for your son." I did. I did. I mean, it worked for me. So
Mhm.
it was just something you always got to find something to live for, and he was what I
Wow.
wanted to live for.
And you did because I remember trying to co-parent him with you, right? We we have that story about where I gave him the look and he was like, "I ain't messing with her."
Yep.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So do doctors not just normally check for lupus when they can't figure out what's going on? What they don't.
No. Actually, lupus is considered a great imitator,
Mhm.
because what happens before you get diagnosed with lupus, you get diagnosed with everything under the sun. It
Okay.
mimics so many things. And it's not one test that actually
Mhm.
say you have lupus. I call lupus, it's a listening disease. It's a symptom disease. So if the
Mhm.
doctor is actually listening to you, actually paying attention to you, and they take all those criterias and make it more of, okay, it's not this, it's not this, it's not this,
Mhm.
it's not this. Then all of a sudden they say you have lupus. But sadly,
Mm.
what happens is that most doctors do not get a lot of training in lupus when they're going
Mhm.
to being a doctor. Years ago, I used to ask people, "How many hours do you get on lupus?" Most doctors says none. I usually see a
Mm.
lupus patient when I'm doing my rounds in a hospital. That's it. And then when that
Mm.
patient's gone, I don't see another one. Um, I think it's getting a little bit better,
Mhm.
um, but not a lot. um, because at the end of the day, we're still having anywhere from 4 to 5 people every year in our greater Kansas City pass away of it, and most of them are saying,
Mm.
"Hey, I was trying to get diagnosed. When I finally got diagnosed, it was too late." Um,
Wow.
also, also people look at me and say, and other lupus warriors and say, "Oh, you don't look sick. You don't. Why are you here?" And people don't look as lupus like a true, and this is my personal opinion, it's just a
Okay.
patient. Sometimes they don't look at lupus like it's a real thing.
Mm.
um at the end of the day, can you live with lupus? Yes, you can. The question is, what quality of life are you wanting
Mhm.
to live? And to have that quality of life, you have to be able to know what lupus is and what lupus look like to you. There's no two lupus people look the same.
Okay.
So when you go to a doctor, most of the people that go to first say, My joints hurt." Oh, you have
Okay.
arthritis.
Mhm.
And I have to explain to most people, not everybody that has lupus have arthritis. It's a symptom.
Mhm.
And everybody that has arthritis does not have lupus. For
Okay.
me, I have high fevers. So, right now I can feel myself warming up. So I
Mhm.
carry a temperature at night anywhere from 101 to 102.
Okay.
Most people will say you need to go to a hospital. I don't go to a hospital until it gets 104. That's
Okay.
just a temper. But by time in the morning, if I'm healthy, I don't. It stops. It probably about 4 or 5 in that morning.
Wow.
I don't.
So
But
you
I carry it.
but you know your body pretty well. You've spent some time. You know your body now, so you actually can tell doctors really almost what to
I
do.
Yeah. I For me, I have to
Uh-huh.
because I get this all the time. Oh, you look so healthy. And I'm gonna have to sit there and say, for a while, I used to carry my medical records with me everywhere
Mhm.
I go. If I went to emergency room, I can pull them out the car and be like, "Before you say something, look at these."
Okay.
And they
Well,
used to look at me and go, "What?" Because a lot of people, like when Dr. Vogelstein left me, she left me. Well,
mhm.
she just stopped working, but retired. But it was hard for me to find a doctor.
Wow.
Because, and if you ask a lot of primary doctors this one simple question: would you rather have a lupus patient or a cancer patient? They say a cancer because lupus patients are too complicated. And then what they
Oh,
mean
wow.
by that is 90% of people, cancers out there can be cured if it's caught early.
Mhm. Mhm.
No matter how early you catch lupus, there's no cure whatsoever.
Wow. So I know there are lots of misconceptions about lupus, and can you help us with some of those? Is lupus hereditary? Do you typically have somebody in your family that's had it? Uh, Tell me a little bit about that. What are some of the misconceptions?
One of the things is lupus is not contagious. Please
Hmm.
understand that. There's a lot of people
Okay.
think it is, but it's not.
Hmm. Okay.
Um, they don't know. They don't know
Hmm.
what lupus, how you got lupus. Um, when I first got diagnosed, no one in my family had it. Now
Okay.
I have three nieces that have it.
Okay.
So some people say it's genetic,
Hmm.
some people say it's environmental, and some of it's a little truth in all of it. Some people say
Hmm.
it's hormonal, because if you look at it, most people, especially women, now let me say
Hmm.
this: 90% of the people that have lupus are women. The
Okay.
majority of those are uh, uh, Black and Latinos, Asian, so the BIPOC area.
Okay.
So you look at it like that. We're 2 to 3 times more getting lupus than white ladies. But
Hmm.
what I want to let people know, it is not a woman's disease. It's not. It is a disease that anyone can get. It does not discriminate at all. The
Right.
difference is it's not that many men that get it. However, when men get it, they get it severely. They usually get it as skin and or the kidneys. And the reason I mentioned those two, because when people, when we get stage 4,
Hmm.
that's the kidney.
Mm,
So
okay.
give you an example. I know there was his name, Nick Cannon.
Hmm.
He has lupus. His started
Okay.
at his kidneys and now it's at his skin. A lot of people, which, well, he's one of my favorite singers. So Seal,
Uh-huh.
people don't know Seal. They think it's a tribal thing, but it's
Huh.
not. He has lupus of the skin. So
Wow.
those are the two majors that when men get it, that's what they get.
Hmm.
Which is really scary. The ages of 14 to 44 is when women get it.
Wow.
Yeah. And
So is it something that's inborn and and the circumstances are right that it happens? Like yours really manifested after you had your son, right?
mhm. It is
So do
I
certain
mean,
stressors.
yeah, stressor. So like right now, college just started. We're going to start getting
Mhm.
a lot of calls saying, "Hey, my daughter's at school. she's stressing out. She what they call a flare up. That means that your the flares in your body, meaning that your disease is really active.
Okay.
So you'll
Okay.
get so it is a stressor in that time. But this is
Mhm.
the one thing people always like, oh, it can't be that serious, but it is. One, you asked about could it be inherited and through the family. If you have more than one or two people in your family, 13% somebody else is going to get it.
Okay.
It's just it runs through your family. They don't know why. They don't do a lot of research when it comes to lupus. We're
Mhm.
trying, and it's a blessing in some of the ways that we've came a long way over 32,
Mhm.
33 years. Another thing is what people don't realize: lupus is in the top 20 deaths
Hmm.
of women, and on top of that, number 10 in African Americans.
Wow. I had no idea.
And if they
So what
do
is
pass,
incidence? What is the incidence in the general population of it? One out of
1 out of 250 black women get it.
hmm. Okay.
Now, again, this is my nonprofit, so I can say what I want to say.
That's right.
There's
That's
not,
right.
and I don't mean to be like that, but sometimes well, I do know the data is not out there for us.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
when I first started really looking into my health and saying, okay, how many people actually have lupus? What's the rate here
Right.
in Greater Kansas City? What is this? What is that? Didn't get anything. One of the reason is when people pass away, you the family members you really need to be there and say, hey, yes, you might have passed of a heart attack or a lung issue, but she had lupus.
Okay.
So people don't
Okay.
realize that. They don't just sit there and go, oh. Now, some cases they're like pass away and they don't really know why. They
Mhm.
do an autopsy and they go, oh, this person passed away of lupus. But most of
Mm.
the time, the family members need to say, hey, yeah, she passed away, but she also had lupus. Because that way, we'll get the data correct. Because
Okay.
right
I
now,
understand.
so if you pass away, like right now, everybody know I have a true lung disorder. So if you see me kind of gasping a little bit, especially when I talk a lot,
Mhm.
I use anywhere from 36 to 40. I went up to 46. So 46% of my lungs on a
Mhm.
good day. On a
Mhm.
good day. So if I pass away, most of the time they either gonna say I passed away of a heart attack or they're gonna
Mhm.
say it's my lung issue.
Okay.
And also, if you look at it, 1.5 million people. This is what they say. I have an issue with that because they've been saying 1.5 million since I was diagnosed. So we know the population has
Mm.
grown.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
if let's just take that number because this is data that they use, some
Okay.
correct data,
Mhm.
and you look at the population in the United States right now, and you divide that, so you're looking at maybe 6 to
Mhm.
7% of the population in the United States have it. So if you
Mhm.
break it down to us, that's about 9,000 people plus that has it, and no
Wow.
one's talking about it. Now I'm gonna say this because I'm fair to the medical side, and
Mhm.
I'm truly fair to the lupus community. Lupus is a very intimate disease, and what I mean by that is most people that have lupus or just got is diagnosed with lupus, they've been screaming something's wrong with me,
Mhm.
and no one's been listening. A lot of doctors says, you might be a hypochondriac. You need to go get some help. I actually went to see one of our professionals uh,
Mhm.
back in the day because that's what the
Mhm.
doctor told me. He said, "Ain't nothing
Mhm.
wrong with you." But I could not figure out what was wrong.
Wow.
So
And do you think that's mainly because it's a disease that primarily affects women and they don't always want to listen to us? They want to blame it on our hormones, blame it on, you know, all kinds of things rather than truly diving into it and seeing what is physically going wrong.
not only that, but it's also a BIPOC.
Mhm.
It's a
Yeah,
BIPOC
that's true.
disease. They're
That's
not
true.
listening. I can give you an example. People like someone told me the other day, "Oh, Miss Tanya, I bet your doctor listened to you when you get sick and you go to the ER." People, I said the other 2 months ago, I had a headache. I had a headache. It was a migraine, and it was out of
Hmm.
this world. And I went in and I told him, I said, "I have a headache. I think it's a migraine." Talking very calm. This
Hmm.
doctor told me if I was hurting that bad, I would be rolling over the floor. I
And you
had to
have a
end up
high
calling
tolerance for pain.
pain, and I had to end up calling my rheumatologist. I said, "Hey, you wouldn't happen to still be in the office in your upstairs?" She said, "Upstairs." I said, "I'm downstairs in the ER," and I said, "This doctor think I'm playing." I said, "My head is throbbing," and so she came down there, and I've been with her for so long. She can look at me, and
Hmm.
even if I'm trying to play it off like, "No, I feel great," she's like, "No,
Hmm.
you don't."
Right.
And she's
Hmm.
like, For this young lady to come into the emergency room, she's hurting." And then
Wow.
she started talking to him, talking about what's going on with me. He's like, "Well, I didn't. She doesn't look like that."
What are they looking for? Can you see
I
pain?
but
That is so frustrating because I mean, when we were working together, I could tell the days you weren't feeling bad. I mean, you would be under the desk trying to fix the computer or something in IT, but I could tell the days you weren't feeling bad, and I didn't know. I mean, personally, I didn't know how to. I think I just didn't know how to make you feel better, you know, and how can someone support someone with lupus is I guess where I'm going, whether it's a coworker, whether it's a family member. What's the best way to support a person who is dealing with lupus?
listen,
Okay.
just listen. Learn more about it, and also it's okay to say, I don't know nothing about lupus. Let me help. Can you
Hmm.
help me? And if it's someone really close to you, do your own little research, because it's all research. It's all the information is online.
Hmm.
Um, Another thing is stop judging.
Hmm.
And what I mean by that, like, I can be out today and um, having a great time. 2 hours later, I can't move.
Hmm.
Oh, she just playing. She was just out there laughing and giggling, dancing. Now she can't move.
Hmm.
So there's a lot of judgment there. So I would say stop judging. And if someone tells you it don't even have to be lupus, they're not feeling
Hmm.
well,
Hmm.
just ask what's going on. What's have you talked to your doctor? And I always tell people to journal. And that's one thing we do. So,
Hmm.
someone is sick, or sick, at home sick, or in the hospital, or just know someone that has lupus, and you let us know, give them us their address or what hospital they in. The first thing we do is give them a journal.
Hmm.
One journal's two things. If you can't talk to nobody else, you can talk to yourself and just write it down. The other one
Exactly.
is if you're in pain today, but not in pain tomorrow, but next week you found out you still having the same pain, but it comes and go. That's something your doctor needs to know. Um, um, right now we're all blessed to have some kind of my chart or portal that you can get to your
Hmm.
doctor. I tell people the best way to let you see if your doctor read your chart, put something in my chart. We are
Hmm.
complicated. So you can't go
Hmm.
into a doctor's office and say, "I have 10 things wrong with me." Pick your 2 to 3 tops that you need answers to and
Hmm.
put it in your chart. And they come in there, or if the nurse come in and say, "Hey, I see in your chart that you have complaint about this, this, and this." Okay, we're gonna touch 1 or 2 of those. But if you go in there and they go say, "Well, so what's wrong? What's going on?" They didn't read your chart. And it's a
Wow.
it's a great way to communicate with your doctor too.
Hmm. Sounds like it, definitely, because I
Mhm.
mean they responsible for reading those charts. So let's talk about Marlene's Kaleidoscope. I remember, I don't, how long has it been in existence?
We've been around as of this year, 6 years, which this
Okay.
is amazing year. We always, me and the board joke about it takes 3 to 6 years to get diagnosed. It
Hmm.
took 3 years to really people to pay me some kind of attention.
Hmm.
Um, and now it took 6 years as we're growing. to the point of, yeah, I need to get someone extra with me. But we are truly, truly, truly growing. We get more people contacting us. We're here. There's no true resource
Hmm.
here in Kansas City.
Okay.
Now, I will paraphrase that a little bit. The Lupus Foundation in America is over our territory.
Okay.
Um, and I always tell people the truth of how I started. I started because the Lupus Foundation basically told me people in Kansas City didn't want to know anything about lupus.
Mm.
But I was raising money for them every year, not little
Right.
money either.
Uh-huh. Oh, okay.
I
Okay.
was raised out of my home.
Uh-huh.
And one of our big donors at the time, rest in peace, he asked me, he took me to lunch. He said, "So where's this money going to?" And they do the walk.
Hmm.
He's like, "Yes, where's the walk?" I said, "It's in Shawnee Mission, Kansas." He said, "Okay." He was like, and he said, "What else they do?" I said, "You know what? You really want to answer like a concrete answer. Let me call them this week and I'm gonna figure it out." Because I like what I do. And when they told me, "Oh, you just got friends that like you," I was
What you
like,
do?
"Oh," and that's why
But still.
but at the end of the day, and I said, "Well, my friends also didn't know I had lupus for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't tell my story."
Hmm.
And I said, "So what now?" And I was like, "Well," she was like, "What are you going to do? Start your own nonprofit?" Okay. I didn't have nothing to do. I was on disability.
Uh-huh.
When I used to be volunteer, my whole board, everything's volunteer. No one gets paid.
Hmm.
And I just said, okay, which I should have thought about it first. But you know me, Janice. Okay, I'll
Uh-huh.
do it. And didn't know that much about nonprofit, doing
Uh-huh.
nonprofit,
Right.
but I'm learning, and every day is um, really a blessing to me
Mhm.
because people are not suffering like I did. I used to be in a house crying because I felt like people didn't understand me. Or,
Mhm.
people always tell me, "Oh, Tanya, you look so good. Oh, your lupus in remission." I'm not in remission. I'm not. And I gotta tell
Mhm.
you, you don't see me when I wake up in the morning. Sometimes I gotta just sit on the floor and scoot to the bathroom.
Mm.
You don't see me when my temperature is so high that I'm shivering.
Mm.
You don't see any of that because I
No.
choose not to show you that.
Every time I see you, I mean, and you look beautiful. You are managing this so well. But yeah, you're right. We don't know what happens at first thing in the We don't know all those things because you seem so strong, and maybe it's just God giving you that, so that you can continue to fight. You can continue to help others. Now, who is Marlene? Is that someone we should know about?
I am Marlene. So the story of
Okay.
that is, you remember I don't know, you remember my oldest brother? He used to come up there and say, "I'm coming to see my sister Marlene." He never called me by
Okay.
my first name.
Okay.
And so when I decided to do this nonprofit, I had to come up with a name. And I
Mm.
mean, I did this nonprofit, like paperwork and everything, in a day because I was just that
Mhm.
mad.
Mhm.
And he kept saying, "Name it Marlene." I'm like, "I don't know, name it Marlene." He's like, "Name what?" I said, "You know, I hate that name." And I said, so he's my heart
Mhm.
besides my son. And I said, "Okay, but we gotta have something else." He said, "So what's the symbol?" I said, "Butterfly." And he was like, "Why?" So it's a butterfly is a symbol because most people that have lupus, not all, not all,
Mhm.
but they get a butterfly rash. So here's the body of the
Mm.
butterfly and then
Mhm.
the wings. And he was like,
Mm.
"Oh," he gets up off the couch. "Marlene's Kaleidoscope." I was like, "So gonna name it after the thing you look into?" I was really
Right.
lost. But my son's just like my brother. They like words. He said, "You
Mhm.
don't know what the kaleidoscope mean?" I said, "Yeah, the tube that you look in and got all the pretty little colors in it." He said, "It has another meaning." I said, "What?" He said, "A large number of butterflies." I said, "No, it don't." So you know
Mm.
me, I'm looking it up. I said,
You
"I'll
gonna
look
look
into
it
it."
up.
And it's Marlene's Kaleidoscope.
Wow. Wow. Okay, so we need to tell people how they can find Marlene's Kaleidoscope. But I have a comment here that I want to read to you. It says, I'm a dementia instructor and neuroscience major. Have you studied the correlation between lupus and dementia since lupus is a neurological disorder as it attacks the nervous system?
Uh, Answer is no. Um,
Mhm.
it it doesn't always attack the nervous system. I can tell you, I say
Mm.
that, but it
Mhm.
can.
Mhm.
There's two things that I do. What I've been looking at is the dementia because, and the reason is it's kind of personal for me.
Mhm.
Two, three of my people in my family has had that dementia, um, and kind of I'm really curious about that.
Mhm.
But I haven't, and I don't know any research out there that's doing it.
Mhm.
Um, but and however, I would love to know more about it, because when it does attack the nervous system, it is pretty
Mhm.
bad.
Hmm.
Um,
Okay.
Another one
Okay.
is breast cancer. I have several friends that or clients too that have lupus has also end up having breast cancer. So I'm really curious about that.
Hmm.
I know five of them off the top of my head, and no one's
Wow.
doing. There's not a lot of research whatsoever when it comes to lupus.
Mhm.
We did get a little bit more money this year from the Washington, but not as much as cancer.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, I will say this: we have came a long way. Some people ask me why I'm not bitter because
Mhm.
we've came somewhere. We didn't have what not one drug that um, was designated to lupus, but now
Mhm.
we have. At the end of the year, we have a total five. This just lupus.
Okay.
Now that's amazing. Um,
Wow.
but we have a problem here in our urban core.
Mhm.
Most of the doctors don't know what those medicines are,
Okay.
and a lot of times when the patients bring it to them,
Mhm.
they're like, "Oh, you got to go see a rheumatologist."
Mm.
But we have
Okay.
a shortage of rheumatologists, so they can't.
Oh
It
my
takes food.
goodness.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's our website. A couple things I really want y'all to know for real about us. I am passionate about this. Uh, I hope before I leave this world, people understand what lupus is. I hope that more doctors get trained in lupus. I hope more people have compassion about a
Mhm.
disease that they can't see. Also, we're here to help. We're here to build resources. So we're really building from the ground up.
Mhm.
Um, we do scholarships. We still got, I think, one. We might have two
Okay.
scholarships available for
Mhm.
kids, children that's going to that's in college, going to college. They're seniors going to college.
Mhm.
We have a $500 scholarship for undergrad. All they have to do is go on our website or contact me.
Mhm.
We'll be happy. We do not keep money. All our money stays in Kansas City, so we are blessed to say that. We don't
Mhm.
send it. We send only maybe less than 5% to the Lupus Foundation America because if we have to all work together. So
Right.
we
Right.
do try to send something, or they'll call us and ask us to sponsor. But we also do patient assist, meaning
Mm.
our patient assist mean we will go to the doctor with you because it's
Oh, I
always
love it.
better. It better have that second person. You have issues paying for your medicine, like COVID. All of us ran out of medicine. Nobody had
Mm.
medicine. You couldn't get it because we had someone in leadership that says, "Hey, you notice that lupus patients don't get COVID, so take their medicine." For several months, medicine was very low.
Wow.
So, and
Wow.
also lift them up. If you know someone that has lupus or dealing with someone with lupus, because it is a to do. You can ask my husband and my son. It's a to do. It's
Mhm.
taxing on them too mentally. And just get a call. Hey, what you doing? How you doing? What's going on? You need anything? You don't know how much that make you, people be like, man, somebody actually cares. Because it is a very sad and lonely disease.
Mhm.
But so we do
Wow.
that. So you can just reach out to us. And someone asked me to give them a list of patient or assistants that we give out, it tells me what
Mhm.
you need. What do you need? Let's figure this out. What do you need? We don't have a like
Wow.
you have to do this and have to do. And right now we
Mhm.
don't even really have a we have a guideline, but we're not a big one. So like
Mhm.
a couple weeks ago, a lady contacted me. Good job.
Mhm.
Was sick for 2 months.
Mhm.
Couldn't pay her car payment. How can you help me?
Wow.
Let's see what we can do. So
Wow, you
that's
are
we're just
you're such a blessing to anybody who's dealing with lupus, those who have family members who are dealing with, those who may even want to start their own not-for-profit that helps people in their areas. For instance, there's a lady who's left a comment here. She's in Atlanta. She wants to connect with you. So that's
yes,
why I'm
please.
putting your email out address out here, your website out here, so that definitely she can contact you. So again, my eyes just have been so open to what's going on, and so you are doing some other things. You have a fundraiser coming up, right?
Yes, we have a fundraiser coming up. It is called Unlocking the Secrets of Lupus, Wellness and Whisper. We have a great speaker coming. We have two great speakers going to be there. It's going to be at the International Continental Hotel. We're going to do a brunch
Okay.
this year. We're not doing a gala. We're not doing anything in the evening. So we're going to do a brunch, and it's from 10 to 2. So hopefully we have early bird tickets. We're also still looking for sponsors. Um, so come out and show your support for lupus, because what's happening, and that's when we start talking to lupus patients, they're like, Tanya, nobody want to hear what we have to say. They think I'm playing. They don't think I'm sick. Um, and they, I want to change, or I want to change that. And I also want to change
Mhm.
it where you say, hey, my cousin had lupus and she passed. My aunt had
Mm.
lupus. So I want people to know, say it more like, hey, my aunt has lupus and she's living well. Oh, my cousin has lupus. She's not doing great, but she's still here. So we're trying to change. That's what we have our initiative is getting the conversation started. And what we
Mhm.
do, we feel like if we have this conversation, that conversation is going to turn into action. And it has. I mean, this last couple of years has been really eye opening for me.
Wow. So Um, my friend Tantan has lupus, but she is helping other people. She is being a blessing to other people. She is knowledgeable about lupus, and so that is the very reason why you are sitting right here on asking for a sister friend, because the wealth of information that you have shared with us today. I mean, I could go on, continuing to listen to it. In fact, we probably got to do a part two at some time because there's so much that we need to know, especially something that affects BIPOC women. I mean, it's something that we need to know about it because there might be somebody right now who is dealing with several of the symptoms, who has been going from doctor to doctor to doctor, and nobody is listening to her, and she is struggling to the
Hmm.
point where she doesn't know where to go. She doesn't know where to go, what to do. So hopefully she is listening today, and that she can say, hey, can you all check me for lupus, or whatever it is that would help her to get the help she needs. So we have your website. We put that out there, and again, that was mkforlupus.org. We
Hmm.
also have her email address, which is Lipprand at
Hmm.
mk4lupus.org. So make sure
Yes.
you write that down. Again, share this video with somebody who is dealing with lupus, or somebody who you're saying, you know what, she's gone through this. There's been some things. It could be lupus. So again, there's so many things that we have learned today and Sunday. All right, so you have the fundraiser coming out. So definitely,
Hmm.
if you would like to support this fundraiser, please share it with somebody. We have somebody who just left a message. I have lupus and I try to educate others in West Virginia. So definitely contact Latanya, and you all can share stories. You all can encourage other people. So look, see, you're already in West Virginia, girl.
And we
Have
also looking
less
for board members.
Okay, okay. You know what? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. And again, I've got
Yeah,
to go ahead and wrap this up, but you have been such a wealth of information. If give me two sentences of something you want to leave with our audience today.
two sentences. Be aware that lupus is real. Be compassionate with the people that you know that have lupus. That will mean the world to me and them too. And get out and talk. Have a conversation. So that's all I want people to do. I want you to have a conversation, come out and support. We're going to start doing more things. So this year, so come out and support us. And if you know someone that would love to tell their story, our platform is not as beautiful as Miss Janice, but we would love to hear it. So,
Hey, I'll bring them on here. We'll make it happen. I'll get you set up with a Marlene's Kaleidoscope podcast. How's that?
all right.
I will get you set up. All right. So I typically when I have somebody on the show, I always share a scripture with them, and it comes from
Okay.
Proverbs 27 17, verse 17 from the Good News Translation. It says, people learn from one another just as iron sharpens iron. And I can't tell you how much you have sharpened my iron on tonight and those who have been listening. People have had lots of comments, and you have truly been a blessing. So keep doing what you're doing. Let me know however I can help. We have been here for asking for a sister friend. And again, we are here every Sunday night at 7 p.m. Central Time. And tonight, our guest has been Latanya Lipprand.